Hello and welcome to my review of the Space Marines Primaris Heavy Intercessors. Currently the only way to pick these models up, being March 2021, is through this Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team Pariah Nexus expansion box set, which will set you back £95. There's no doubt in my mind that Games Workshop will release the set of 5 Heavy Intercessors later on down the line, probably a few months after this release, in their own box set. I'd like to take a guess at £40. I don't think that the set will be £31.50 like the recently released Primaris Eradicator box set, because that has 3 Primaris Space Marines in Gravis armour. This is 5, and it is still a multi-part, multi-pose box set. It's much more impressive than the flayed ones that you get in this kit. I was wondering what they would do with the Necron force in here and what they would do with the Space Marines, and it actually turns out that the flayed ones are monopose and use all of the parts, whereas this is the full kit. So it's up to you whether you think that this set is worth it if you want to get hold of these Heavy Intercessors. There's no rush though, guys. I would hold out a little bit longer and pick these up, but you may be looking at almost a year since the sort of codex came out to pick up a unit that's already in there. What we're going to do is we're going to have a look at the models individually. I'll show you all of the spare parts, of which there are an absolute ton. We'll go through some size comparisons, and then eventually at the end, I'll go through all of the rules. So let's just start with the Sergeant first of all. Right here, this guy, you get a fair few options. I like this kit in that you don't have to pick the options that they go for. You can mix and match the arms and the heads. There's plenty of heads, I'll show you them in a moment. You can have different magazines on the guns and the heavy bolter, but this is the Sergeant, so we'll have a look at him first. He's got his fist raised, he's got a little icon thing, he's got a pistol there, he's got his heavy bolt rifle. Really chunky boy, really chunky. I like the poses in this set. I thought that the Eradicators had the best poses so far. These guys also have some decent ones. Then we've got this Heavy Intercessor aiming, that bolt rifle. You notice I've gone for this magazine. You've also got a longer magazine, which I think, I would guess, is the Executor rounds, and then also the Hellfire, which I think are the more of a drum magazine. You've got this one here reloading, which is super cool. I really like the look of this one. You get this one here, who's just about to move around a corner, maybe around some cover. And then finally the heavy weapons guy. I mean, they're pretty much all heavy weapons, aren't they? These heavy bolt rifles, they look huge, but this is the heavy bolter with a drum magazine. You get a different choice of magazines for the heavy bolter, and he's just hosing down well, enemies. Obviously he's pretty tall, so yeah, quite imposing. So there you go, they're all the Intercessors. Let's have a look at those spare parts. See what I mean? An absolute load of spare parts. Everything from spare heavy bolt rifles, which look huge compared to the normal bolt rifles. Like different detailing on them. This one with a scope, oh, that's quite cool. You get a load of Gravis armour shoulder pauldrons, nothing special about them. They're the same left and right. It would have been nice to have some extra iconography and things. You've got one of the different magazines for the heavy bolter there, and this one as well. So if everything works out there, it looks like you're getting 6 plus the 5 there, that's 11, plus these 2, I guess that's 13, 13 heads. That number seems a bit off, but there we go. You're getting 2 helmetless heads. I'll just show you what they look like. And there you go. Pretty unique. This one's a bit odd. It's got like skin peeled off like a metal skull type thing going on, and all of these are pretty much the same, just some have plugs and some don't. There's no other differences other than on the sergeant there. You get all of these different magazines that go in the heavy bolt rifles, a huge number of those. Some pistols in the holsters with pouches, a couple with rounds on there, different number of arms. This one's pointing, this one's signalling a maneuver, and you get some purity seals and like little extra accessories like this. It's got some bones in it. This one is a bullet with a skull on. You get a few of those that you can dangle off their weapons or off their belts. You do get an Auspex, which is interesting. Haven't seen one of them for a while. So yeah, they're all the spare parts, a decent number. No doubt you could probably use them in other kits. Okay then, size comparisons. Well, of course, it wouldn't be a good size comparison without me comparing them to the other Gravis armoured intercessor in the set. Obviously the captain right here, gonna be a bit taller. He is going to stand a little bit taller than the rest of your heavy intercessors. You know, you can easily spot him in that group. Comparing him to another Gravis armoured Primaris, the Eradicator, same size base. This one is a bit unfair because he looks a little bit bigger because of the backpack power plant. Yeah, it looks a little bit bigger. You can pretty much build an all Gravis armoured force now if you wish. You know, you've got your heavy supports, you've got your troops, you've got your elites and your fast attack. It's getting there, it really is. Next on the agenda most probably will be some kind of heavy intercessors with melee weapons. Final size comparison I'd like to make with Imperium models, that is of course with normal Space Marine. Yeah, a fair bit bigger than one of those. Slight Marbo, absolutely dwarfs him now. And then a normal intercessor, similar height. Probably say the Gravis is a little bit taller than your normal intercessors, but yeah, if we just look at the differences there, I mean, so much more chunkier, aren't they? These heavy intercessors. Okay, another like bonus size comparison. I'll just show you with the Necron models, a couple of Necron models in the set. So there's the Chronomancer, which is the tallest model in the whole set, and a flayed one. So yeah, odd choice that they've gone for, GW, with the flayed ones, which look quite fragile, and in real life they are too, against these massive heavy intercessors, which are Primaris equivalent Terminators almost. So there you go. That's how they measure up next to the other side of the force. Okay, so the last topic to go over with this unit of heavy intercessors is the rules. Of course, you've got a fair few options now for troops in the old Space Marine Codex, now that scouts have been moved to elites. You've got the normal intercessor squad, the assault intercessor squad, the heavy intercessor squad, infiltrator squad, incursor, tactical, and that's it. It's mainly Primaris for your troops, which is, I don't know, it's one of those things, isn't it? The only normal Space Marine squad you can take is tactical Space Marine. I personally do think now they are phasing them out of the books, of the rules at least, in favour of these intercessors. I wonder how long it's going to be until we get heavy assault intercessors. Anyway, these are actually the most expensive troops that you can get for your Primaris. They are a power points cost of 7 and a whopping points cost of 28 points per model. To put it in perspective, intercessors themselves cost 20 points, but infiltrators cost 24 points per model. So these are almost 30 points per model. Crazy. Now, what do you get for all of these points? Well, you can have up to 10 in a single unit. I am tempted to pick up another set of 5 when they're released separately. You get a movement of 5 inches, weapon skill and ballistic skill both 3+, strength 4, toughness 5, 3 wounds, 2 attacks, leadership 7, and a save of 3+. The Sergeant has the same stat line but has 3 attacks and a leadership of 8. That's a very, very strong stat line. I mean, even if we were to compare them to a tactical squad, yes, they're missing out on the movement of 6 inches. They've only got 5 inches, but they certainly make up for it with toughness 5, so 1 extra toughness, 1 extra wound, and 1 extra attack. And they've got access to these pretty decent weapons. We'll go through them right now. So every model is equipped with a bolt pistol, heavy bolt rifle, frag grenades and crack grenades. Okay, super. What's the deal with these heavy bolt rifles? Well, the normal bolt rifle, as you may know, is a nice 30-inch rapid fire 1, strength 4, AP -1 and a damage 1 weapon. But a heavy bolt rifle adds even more range. It's 36 inches. Base, and that's horrific. I mean, they've really turned Space Marines Primaris into a shooty force, although they have added assault intercessors in there. But so yeah, their basic weapons, 36-inch range, still rapid fire 1. However, they're now a strength 5, but the rest is the same. So armor penetration is still -1 and damage 1. So that's great. Those heavy bolt rifles firing at the strength 5 at 36-inch range, it's brilliant. So they are a long range troop choice. Is there any need for scouts with sniper rifles nowadays when these Space Marines can pretty much take sniper rifles and count as troops? Now the heavy bolter, of course, is another 36-inch range weapon. Nothing's really changed with that. It's still strength 5. It's still 3 shots, strength 5, AP -1, damage 2. So that means that you are going to be pumping out 7 shots from 36-inch range, which is quite nice for a squad of 5 Space Marines. This is where it gets spicy though, and confusing as well. If no model in this unit is equipped with a heavy bolter, you can take one of the following options. So if you get rid of that heavy bolter, then you can take one of the following options. All of the models in the unit can have their heavy bolt rifles replaced with 1 Hellstorm bolt rifle each. What's a Hellstorm bolt rifle? Well, it's the assault variant. It drops the range down to 30 inches. It's assault 3, strength 5, nothing for AP, and a damage of 1. So remember the auto bolt rifle that intercessors can get? Well, it works on a similar basis. It bumps the range up to 30 from 24, still the same shot, and it bumps up the strength. All of the models in the unit can have their heavy bolt rifles replaced with 1 Executor bolt rifle each. What does the Executor heavy bolt rifle do? Again, in a similar flavour of the Stalker bolt rifle, these bolt rifles are now firing at 42 inches. They're heavy 1, they're a strength 5, but they are AP -2 and a damage of 2. So again, they're like the Stalker bolt rifle, but with an extra 6 inches and a better strength. For every 5 models in this unit, 1 Heavy Intercessors heavy bolt rifle can be replaced with 1 heavy bolter, which I have done in my unit. 1 Heavy Intercessors heavy auto bolt rifle can be replaced with 1 Hellstorm heavy bolter, or 1 Heavy Intercessors heavy Stalker bolt rifle can be replaced with 1 Executor heavy bolter. Now this is where I think they've messed up with the rules, because I strongly believe that they don't have heavy auto bolt rifles at all. I think what they meant to say was the heavy bolter can be replaced with a Hellstorm heavy bolter, and the other heavy bolter can be replaced with 1 Executor heavy bolter. So I think they've misplaced a few words there. Basically, I think it should read that you've got 5 of them and 1 of them can have a heavy bolter, and then that heavy bolter can either be a Executor heavy bolter or a Hellstorm heavy bolter. Now, this is where it gets interesting. The Executor heavy bolter is again a range 42 inches, but it drops the number of shots down to 2. It is strength 5, but it's AP -2 now, and it is a damage of 3. Now that's amazing. I mean, comparing it to the normal heavy bolter, you're getting, yes, you're getting less shots, but you're getting further range, you're getting better AP, and you're getting better damage. The Hellstorm variant of the heavy bolter drops the range down to 30 inches, but it is a heavy 4, strength 5, AP 0, and a damage of 2. Abilities: Angels of Death, Combat Squads. Keywords: Imperium, Adeptus Astartes, Infantry Corps, Primaris Intercessors, Mark 10 Gravis, Heavy Intercessor Squad. Now, As much as I would have liked to have seen some kind of fire control ability or whatever, let's not forget, guys, these are troops. I know that the infiltrators have an extra ability, so do the incursors, but they're already at 28 points per model, and I think if they did add any more abilities, they would have bumped up the points cost even more. I think the wording on the war gear options isn't correct, in my opinion. I understand that if you've got 5, you can have 1 with a heavy bolter, and that makes sense with keeping their effective range of 36 inches with the heavy bolt rifles and the heavy bolters. And I also understand that, you know, if there is no heavy bolter, they can all have those Hellstorm bolt rifles or the Executor bolt rifles. Likewise, I also understand that the heavy bolter can be replaced with either of the two kind of specialist weapons. I think for me, it may be worth me going for the Executor heavy bolter because it's got an extra 6 inches, so it can pick off a couple of units. And if we look at it from an enemy movement point of view, although the Executor heavy bolter has 1 less shot, you are getting an extra 2 shots before they come into the 36-inch range. And furthermore, you can potentially cause more damage. But it's up to you if you want to keep that base range at 36 inches. They're all heavy weapons anyway. So how would I use these? Well, you could use them in 2 squads of 5. They're very survivable. You know, with 3 wounds each, you've got 15 wounds just in 1 unit, and 30 if you take 2 squads. I think they're going to be very, very strong on the board. I think they're going to be very strong from distance and quite survivable, especially with that toughness 5 and the number of wounds they have. You could say they are a little bit weak in close combat, but that toughness 5 would certainly help. What do you guys think of the Heavy Intercessor squad? Are you a big fan of these bulked up intercessors, and are you looking forward to getting your hands on them? Put your comments and thoughts down below as always. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.